Chat, we're going to be talking about the Tournament of Madness tonight and the whole thing that just wrapped up probably 2 hours before this video actually goes up. So, we ran our first Tournament of Madness. Players were allowed to build and deny the format. And we also had Pegasus Challenge rules. I wanted to kind of talk about some of the things I saw here and the train wreck of the format. So the first train wreck I want to bring to your attention here is the card of Sanctity that was legal. Somehow, I don't even know how we pulled this off, 2 anime cards found their way into the tournament. One of which was Card of Sanctity, and one of which was Anime Card of Demise. Now, if you're not familiar with Card of Demise's anime effect, it's drawn to you 5 cards in your hand, and then after the 4th turn, you get to discard your entire hand. It just goes poof. So, we also had Card of Sanctity, which is both players draw until they are holding 6 cards. You can only activate 1 card of Sanctity per turn, so we did put a hard once per turn clause on this to essentially balance this out. But I do want to say that who needs the ever-loving power of Sky Striker Mobilize Engage when you have triple copies of Pot of Greed in your deck? Alright, so I think that this is brutal insanity for how this tournament ended up going tonight. Card of Sanctity, this card... Okay, so I learned something tonight about Yu-Gi-Oh! Something I didn't think I would ever actually learn. There's something that we've never seen before in the game, and there's something called too much draw power. Alright, much like Pokemon, the thing that balances out Pokemon is all of the draw power. The natural check in that game is the one energy that you can effectively play per turn. Alright, there are some abilities that kind of bypass that, but in their own right, those are different creatures, right? That makes sense. But in a game of Yu-Gi-Oh!, if you produce as much draw power as we actually saw tonight in this tournament, with the card Demises, the card of Sanctities, and, you know, the triple Pot of Greed here, yes, there was Pot of Greed running around for multiple rounds during the tournament. And yes, we did see Pot of Greeds into Pot of Greeds. And diversively enough, I think that too much draw power in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is actually a bad thing. That's a really weird thing to say. We actually saw some really interesting interactions in the game because by producing Card of Sanctity and forcing it to be a hard once per turn clause, a lot of decks did not want to take advantage of this. A lot of decks were having issues feeding cards out of their hand, which is really, really strange to me. Alright? Because when you're looking at this being able to draw 6 cards, the advantage is if your opponent draws 5 cards per turn and you burn through all your resources, you activate Card of Sanctity, your opponent only draws 1 card going second. That's kind of the problem with this. Like, that's the non-balancing factor about the anime version of this, is just, I activate this, I draw 6 cards, you draw 1. So, like, literally effectively allowing this card to maintain its current course of text turn 1 is bad. The most issue, or the counterpoint that we had to this card today was if you Ash Blossom and discard a Maxi, you do get to draw 3 cards. Like, hand traps unironically work with us. I also watched Card of Sanctity get Ash Blossomed a couple of times tonight. This card is actually insane watching this resolve. Now, Anime Card of Demise, on the other hand, over here, the draw until you have 5 cards in your hand at the end of the 4th turn, discard your hand. A draw card like that in a more contained environment is fine. But our issue ends up becoming at that point that, 4 turns in Yu-Gi-Oh! Don't exist. Your counterpoint to this whole argument here is modern day Yu-Gi-Oh! Is such a fast creature that cards like Card of Sanctity that are designed for the longer game, the more grindy approach to the game, you unfortunately do not get that with the tournament, or literally anything in general. Like, I can definitely say the Card of Sanctity is definitely a card that they draw out the shows with. It was a card that was designed to be one of those, haha, oh, I know Tom, Toru, Card of Sanctity, hostile, and then you just draw, and then like the game is repopulated and replenished. But in the course of Striker here, as we have for example here, you have this format where all these cards turbo so quickly. All right, and yes, we did. I do want to play a sub note here to this because we had Max C in the tournament. Even at certain points, Max C only netted 2 to 3 cards, and this is actually interesting in the small sandbox tournament that we had tonight. In terms of results, Max C's value, it was there. Don't get me wrong, like it's good, but a lot of times, like just a couple special summons were needed, or your opponent's still going to OTK you through this. Like, the best combination of things that we saw was usually the Max C resolving into the Droll and Lockbird, which would usually put the nail in the coffin for the game. So that was a little bit interesting. I definitely enjoyed that for the most part. Some of the other strange things that happened tonight, there were a lot of cool things that just kind of ended up happening. The whole tournament tonight actually ended up going to Masterpiece of all things. And here, I'm going to just put this on the screen because this is hilarious to me. This was the next evolution that we had in Striker for the night. We actually ended up going to we had triple Change of Heart, and we had triple Snatch Deal running around in the tournament. And do you know what that does to a format? A lot of the community is always like, we have these imbalanced cards. Like, Kaiser Coliseum was bonkers tonight, all right? And then, like, you have the counterplay cards in other matchups where you had, like, the Change of Hearts and you had the Snatch Deal. There was almost a point in time where at the Windows, Snatch Deal was a little bit better, just because it's a permanent steal instead of a turn steal. The problem, versus this, though, is, like, Cosmic did see play. Also, shout out to this card. In a smaller, condensed format, where you've got the Pot of Greeds, you got the Card of Sanctity. Watching Pot of Greed and the Card of Sanctity and a Pot of Greed into 3 tactical talents, and watching this continuous flow of draw power resolving, was actually very interesting. And, like, you look at all of these insane cards in here, like, Striker notoriously abused this tonight. I enjoyed watching the Kaiser Coliseum locks taking place and slowing down the gameplay. And to the people that still think that Kaiser Coliseum is one of these cards that literally should be back at 1, I disagree with you. I used to push for this card. After watching this card in essentially one of the craziest formats I've ever seen in a while, yeah, this card is so dumb. Like, you do not get to effectively engage and play the game because this card exists on the field across the table. Alright? Like I said, the spiciest meatball of the night, I got to watch Masterpiece come down out of nowhere after we lost True Draco cards on the ban list. Out of left field, all of a sudden, Marcos comes in here with a top-decked Masterpiece on Spell and Trap immunity and just smashes Bosch in the finals. That was actually insane, and I enjoyed that, and I hope that Twitch and chat, I hope you guys, for those of you that watched all of this last night, I hope that you enjoyed the triple Pot of Greed. I hope you enjoyed the Card of Sanctity anime effects. I didn't actually think that people would enjoy this. There are a few requests for anime effects like Gold Stark, but we kind of just denied them because they're not that impactful. It's like, yeah, we could do that, but what's the point? Nobody's gonna play it. You know what I mean? But anime Card of Sanctity. Yeah, by the way, this card, if we ever get a format where we can effectively see more draw power, like we've got triple Pot of Greed. Oh, by the way, nobody cared about Graceful Charity. Alright, there's nobody on Bangers. We played the whole tournament without Graceful Charity. No point. Card of Sanctity exists. It's an infinitely better card. What a crapshoot of an idea. So that wraps up the nightly discussion. I just wanted to talk about how insane Card of Sanctity is, and in a faster format where draw cards and things like this actually could exist, this card might actually be feasible in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Maybe I'm just tired of making this video, but it sounds like a good thought right now. Guys, please, comment down below, tell me what you guys think. And, well, that pretty much wraps up my insanity. Peace out, guys. Thank you, patrons, for making the ride never truly end. Without you guys' support, well, I would probably be doing Truffle Shuffle videos for a living. Guys, please check out VanCole40 for all of your Cardfight Vanguard content brought to you by MCole40. And if you are looking to pick up singles, check out mcolegames.com for your trading card game needs. Thanks for watching, everybody.